Did you know that 59% of Americans do not have $1,000 in savings? If that's you, trust me, you're not alone. I've been there too. And guess what? It's not our fault. In this video, I'm going to break down 6 proven steps that I've implemented and others have too that will get you to not only 1,000 but 10,000 faster than what you think. So let's go. So the first thing we're going to consider is making it a clear and actionable goal. If you are like me and you feel that $10,000 is this big number and I'm never going to get there, what if you start thinking about it as only $27.40 per day that you're going to need to find and you're going to need to save? It just makes it a bit more attainable. What you're also going to need to do is you're going to have to go and write it down. And so what I personally did was, when I wanted to save my first $10,000, was I wrote it down not only in a journal, but I put it up on my vision board. And so this kept me focused. I put a goal down to save $10,000. And I looked at this every single day, and what that started to do for me was help me identify opportunities where I could either save money by cutting costs, which I'll talk about a bit later, or ways in which I could generate extra income. So I was laser focused on my goal of getting to $10,000. And so I encourage you guys, have a vision board, have a journal where you're going to document and journal your particular goal that you want to achieve, in this case $10,000. Another thing that I did was I opened up a savings account, a high yield savings account, specifically for that goal. So it's something I could monitor, and as money went in there, I could see myself getting closer to my goal. So that's how I tracked it. You could use a spreadsheet to track your goal. You could use another mechanism, but being able to see that you're getting closer to that goal will give you the motivation to continue on your journey to getting to $10,000. The next area that I wanted to consider is what I call smart saving strategies. And so some of these might be things that you've heard before, others you might be hearing for the first time. And so I lumped them into 3 categories. The first is going to be where I look to cut out unnecessary expenses. So these could be things like my subscriptions. And so I've shared an example of this on this channel before, where I subscribed to ESPN Plus and my wife, and we were both paying for the same particular subscription at the same time. There's also other times where we've signed up for things like Audible, or we've signed up for apps or apps on our phones for our kids, like ABC Mouse and things like that, where we subscribed in the trial period and we thought we'd cancel, but we forgot to cancel, and all of a sudden it continued to charge us on a monthly basis. So go ahead and look at your bank statements, look at your credit card statements if you use a credit card, and identify things like subscriptions that you can actually go ahead and cut. So eliminate the unnecessary expenses. The second point is frugality. So when I think of frugality, I'm not thinking of being somebody that just doesn't enjoy life, but I want you to consider what you're spending your money on. So do you need to be buying coffee every single day? Do you need to be eating out with your colleagues at work every single day? Or could you pack lunch in? Could you make coffee at home? Could you drink coffee at the office? And again, I'm not saying that you can't do those things, but I want you to weigh up the cost of the items that you're buying, and is it keeping you away from your goal? If it's not, then go ahead and spend it. But I just want you to pause and to consider what you're spending your money on a regular basis. And if it's keeping you away from your goal, maybe consider cutting it out. The third area in this particular category is forced savings. And so what I mean by that is, I want you to consider automating savings. So I want you to look at your income, less your expenses, identify if you've got any surplus, and then automatically transfer that surplus into a savings account. And again, preferably a high yield savings account. So if you're going to be forcing yourself to save and you're taking yourself out of the equation, then you're going to get to your goal a lot quicker. It's been proven time and time again, when we take the human element out of savings, that you actually achieve your goals quicker. And so what we do personally is, on a weekly basis, and in certain instances on a bi-weekly basis, as money comes into our checking account, it automatically goes to our savings accounts. We've got a few for different goals that we have, but as a result of that, we have noticed that we're not spending money on things that we shouldn't, because money is going into our savings accounts, and we're not going to touch that savings account unless it's for the thing that we're actually saving for. So force yourself to save through automation. The next area is one of my favorites, and that is consider raising your income. And so what you could do is, because there's only so much that you can cut in your budget or your spending plan, but when it comes to increasing your income, the sky's the limit. So there are lots of different things that you could do. You could start a side hustle, you could start selling your knowledge, you could start writing books, selling courses, you could do things like affiliate marketing. If you feel that you don't feel comfortable with these digital concepts, what you could also do is you could look around your house, identify if there are items that you haven't used in a long time, and consider selling it at a garage sale, or consider selling it on Facebook Marketplace. On a regular basis, my wife Brittany actually goes through our house and she identifies things that the kids don't use anymore and things that we don't use anymore, and she sells it. And there's been times where she's been able to generate an extra $100 or possibly even $200 per month just by selling things that lays around the house. Guys, in addition to that, if you've got a vehicle, you could consider doing things like DoorDash, Uber, if you feel comfortable with that, where you might do it in the evenings or on the weekend. I spoke to a friend the other day, and last Sunday at the time of recording this video, they actually generated an extra $300 in income by doing Uber on Sunday. So driving to a particular location, and so they decided to give people rides, and so as a result of that, they were able to generate an extra $300. So just think outside the box. You don't have to just do digital things. There are lots of things that you could do with your physical hands or with things that you've got which can actually help you generate extra income. So if you've enjoyed the video thus far, could you please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It will help the algorithm, but it'll also help other people out there to know about ways in which they can take control of their finances. If you are watching this video and you feel that $10,000 is not possible because you don't make enough money, or alternatively that you are living from paycheck to paycheck, then this next step is for you. So what I want you to consider using is micro savings apps. So these are apps like Acorns. So Acorns is an app which allows you to round up purchases and savings or investing. And so we have our account set up where we transfer $5 every week into Acorns. And so as a result of that, $5 is not a lot of money. And so, but as a result of setting aside $5 every week, we have gotten closer to certain saving goals. Other apps like Rakuten, where you can actually go and get money paid out to you by uploading your receipts. That could be another way in which you could actually get some cash back, which when you receive the money, you can actually go ahead and put that into your savings accounts. The next point under this category would be starting up no-cost side hustles. And what I mean by that is sometimes when you want to start a side hustle or a second business or second stream of income, you need to invest some money. But there are lots of options out there, like tutoring, like doing online surveys. While this is not going to make you a lot of money, you could actually just spend an hour every day in your downtime actually taking online surveys and generating some extra cash that way. So there's a bunch of ways where you don't need to fork out money from the start, where you can actually go ahead and generate some extra income. But again, the key is when you make that extra income, transfer it to your savings account. The third area in this category is community-based support. And what I mean by that is, depending on where you find yourself, you might be in a community where people give things away for free. So we are part of a Facebook group in our community where people have given away food for free, where people are giving away toys for free. So all of a sudden, and we do the same. If we don't use something, we don't feel like we want to sell it, we just post a message in our community group and somebody else can benefit from that. In turn, they are saving money and they can use their resources to purchase other things. You could also consider if there are any food or financial support groups in your particular region. Again, I don't know where you live, but there are lots of programs that people are missing out by not doing research to identify if there are food programs, transportation savings programs in their region. So go ahead and do some research just to identify if you do find yourself in a position where you might not have enough money or you're not making enough money, where you could be benefiting from programs in your own community. So quite often I get asked, should I invest or should I save? And so for me personally, I feel comfortable saving first until I hit my particular goal and then investing. But there is a little caveat to that particular statement. So as an example, right, we have a certain goal that we want for our savings or our emergency fund. So we set aside money for that automatically, because we've had emergencies come up recently where my engine blew out and it cost $8,000. Our fence fell over and that cost, yeah, you don't even want to know how much that cost, but just life happens. If we didn't have an emergency fund, we would have used a credit card to pay for those bills, but fortunately we had enough in savings. On the other hand, once we reached our savings goal, we started to aggressively invest a lot more. But the caveat to that was, at the place that Brittany and myself work, we actually can participate in our retirement fund. So we have purposely chosen to benefit by taking advantage of the benefits at the organizations that we work for. So they would contribute to the retirement fund as we do, so we get the match. So to me, that's the one area which I feel you could invest while you're saving, because if your company is going to give you the match, that's free money that you are actually getting from them. It's a benefit. If you are at a company where there is no match, then I'd consider first saving, getting to your goal of savings, and then to consider investing. Because the thing is, if you're just saving, you are going to actually miss out on the growth in the market, because savings accounts at the moment, at the time of recording this video, are offering you between 3 and 4.5%. But historically, with the S&P 500, if you invest in an index fund, over the last, who knows how many years, you could be earning 8, 9, 10%. So you don't want to just lock all your funds up in savings. So you want to invest once you reach your particular level. And in this case, we're talking about $10,000. Next up, we'll talk about inflation-proof strategies. And so, as you know, inflation over the last few years has gone up and it's come down, and now it's roughly between 2 and 3% if you are in the United States. So your ability to buy things is actually depreciating, losing value by 2 to 3% each year. So you're not going to be able to buy the same stuff. And so what you need to be looking at is inflation-proof strategies. And this could be maybe buying stock once you reach your particular level in terms of what your savings goal is, and then getting dividend yielding stock. And so they'll pay you a dividend each year based on your investment. Sometimes you might say you just want to reinvest the dividend, but other times you might want to draw down on the dividends that the particular stock is actually paying out to you. So that could be one thing that you could consider, which would be dividend yielding stock. In addition to that, you could consider renegotiating your bills. And so as a best practice or good practice, I would encourage you to shop around on an annual basis for insurance to identify that you're getting the best rates. In addition to that, consider contacting your phone provider to see if they've got better deals for you, as well as internet. Because if you just stay with them, they're not going to offer you the better rate. It's just going to either stay the same or it's going to increase in terms of rate. But if I go to a different service provider, I might be able to save money compared to just staying with the insurance or with the cell phone company that I've been with for all the years. The third area under this category is consider buying in bulk. And so we've got a Sam's Club membership, and we actually, if you go into Groupon, sometimes they've got discounted memberships. We paid $20 for our membership. As a result of that, we are able to purchase gas at Sam's Club at a reduced rate for our vehicles. And in addition to that, we're able to buy things in bulk. And so when it comes to buying things in bulk, don't just buy things in bulk for the sake of buying in bulk, but buy things in bulk like toilet paper and things that you actually are going to use. I've made the mistake in the past where we've purchased consumable goods, food or perishable goods, and so we haven't eaten everything up and we had to throw things away. So you don't want to waste money too by just buying things in bulk for the sake of it, but buy things that you know that you're actually going to consume and that you're going to use, because your money is going to go a lot further when you are buying in bulk comparing to buying one-off items. If you enjoyed this video, here's a few more videos that I recorded that will help you on your personal finance journey.